Hey, fellow film buffs, Zenglin here. Finally, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done one of these, Rob.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah, we're talking about the best movies of 1998, and yeah, I'm kind of jazzed for this. There's some good films to talk about. There is at least one movie that you and I are definitely going to be agreeing on, and I can't wait to get to that one. Something I think we're going to be fighting over as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, man. Well, okay, so you are generally more
Contrarian, sir.
yeah, you could say that. But yeah, what would you think about the general when you're looking over the titles, when you're looking over everything? What do you think of 1998 as you were building your list?
Cutesy, silly, nothing studly or manly for the most part.
Really?
Just observations. Yeah. Really.
Okay. Now I've got a couple that I would say, yeah, I think there are a couple of extreme films here, but in all honesty, I got to admit, yeah, I think a couple of them on my list I could say are good, but definitely not extreme.
I heard what you did there, sir, and I'm sure all the fans heard that extreme comment.
Damn straight. Because that's what we're all about, man. It's not just because that's what we count down. We don't count down the best. We're not talking about the Godfathers of the year. We're talking about the movies that find their way into our DVD players or our VCRs at the time, whatever, man. And we do have extreme chirping because Gail came into the freaking room. The bird got excited, and now it's like, hey, where's Gail now? And he won't shut up because he thinks I'm talking to him. I'm not.
Are
talking
you saying
to
you don't get excited when Gail walks into the room?
I don't chirp.
Good answer. Let's do this. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go.
So, once again, got some runner-ups. I'll go first since I usually
have 47.
I have 50. Yeah, I have 50 runner-ups. I don't remember how many I pulled for this one that I had to work down. But my number 20 is an early Marky Mark film. Back when people were still calling him Marky Mark, and he was like, "No, Mark Wahlberg, dude." And this is a movie called The Big Hit, where he plays this one, number 20. He plays an assassin who ends up kidnapping the boss's goddaughter, and it's a freaking hoot and a holler. It really is. It's just tons of fun.
It's a slapper hoot nanny slobber knocker.
Absolutely. Yes. Slobber knocker is a good way to describe it as well. Just a lot of fun. It is silly. It is stupid, and it is entertaining. Talking about silly and stupid, the creators of South Park did a movie before South Park hit it big. It was called Basketball. That's my number 19 film. And once again, a lot of fun. Comedies kind of ruled, but not ruling the roost in 1998. And so my number 18 ended up being The Night at the Roxbury with Will Ferrell. Once again, entertaining. Number 17, back when Adam Sandler wasn't as bad as he is now, he did a movie called The Wedding Singer that I found entertaining. I loved the way it loved 80s music. And it just showed that put them two together, Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler, you got a pretty decent film. Number 16 was the year's Oscar-winning film, and everybody was like, wait, that one? No way. And that's called Shakespeare in Love, which actually has some great acting in it by a lot of people you wouldn't think were great actors, and some really good writing. Judi Dench owned that freaking film. Number 15 is a mishmash of two classic stories. You get The Man in the Iron Mask, but they threw the Three Musketeers in there. It is just a great adventure yarn. You just don't see a lot of good adventures movies. This year it had two, and we're going to talk about another one later. My number 14 was Pixar's second movie. It's called The Bug's Life. I was entertained by that. I liked it. I brought my daughter to it when she was just a little toddler, and she loved it too. Number 13 is the fourth in the series, but if you're going to add Jet Li to it, it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's Lethal Weapon 4.
Awful movie.
But it was a lot of fun, yeah. My number 12 is Pleasantville, which I think is a good film. That's it. And then number 11, and then number 11 is the There's Something About Mary, which is funny, but if you watch
That's not in your top 10, bro.
it missed my top 10. I really actually
this your decade's gonna suck.
So obviously I know one of your top 10s, but I actually had to think about, what do I really watch the most, this one or number 10? And I have to admit, my number 10 I watch more than There's Something About Mary, so I had to just put it out. Yeah. Let's see. Jim Sorensen says his. Oh wait, no. Let's go with yours, and then we'll read the comments.
Well, my number 15 is oh my God, sequelitis. But we're all Wesley Snipes fans at this point, and that's U.S. Marshals.
Okay.
Number 14, probably almost in a similar spot as yours, was Night at the Roxbury. Better than it probably really is. I mean, it's more entertaining, I guess, and all that. Yeah. It was not offensive. It was lighthearted fun before some of the characters got really annoying. This movie, next movie at number 13, I liked it a lot. Thought it was a great film, but I've only seen it maybe 2 or 3 times. It's not one that you would go back and watch, but I thought it was one of Stephen King's better adaptations, and that's Apt Pupil.
Apt Pupil. That is hard to watch.
It is.
I agree.
It's good.
I agree with
really,
you.
really good.
Yeah, it didn't. That's one of the reasons it didn't make my top 20 is because it's one of those movies. You're right. I've seen it once or twice. Very well acted. What's his name? Gandalf got an Oscar nomination for it. It's so yeah, definitely check it out. But you're right. It is a hard film to watch there.
Number 12, I liked it, but it seemed kind of Euro trashy hip at the time, so otherwise it would be higher, and that's Perfect Murder. Vigo and Douglas. And then this next movie is
the Perfect Murder is a remake of Dial M for Murder, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah,
correct, sir. Number 11. When you live in Florida and it rains and there's acid, we call it hard rain.
Oh, show Christian Slater some love, my friend. Yeah, that's actually a fun movie, man. So Randy Quaid there, Morgan Freeman. Yeah, good times. And Betty White.
Are we talking about the same movie?
Hard Rain.
Are we? Hard Rain?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought this was the Michael Douglas vehicle.
Hard Rain. No, that's Black Rain, sir.
Damn it. Well,
Hard Rain. Yeah, Black Rain was early 90s.
Black Rain. All right, screw that one.
You got him mixed up. Okay.
That's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. You had 14, but that's pretty cool. Let's see. Jim Sorensen says Man in the Iron Mask, Dirty Work. That's a lot of fun, by the way.
Dirty Work's not bad.
Yeah, I like that bit where, are you peeing off the roof? And the guy walks up all pissed and soaking wet. Yeah. Oh no, actually the one that makes me laugh is when they're in prison and he says, aren't you worried about he goes, what? What prison's famous for? He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And he whispers, he goes, really? No. And then these big guys come and take him away. And later you see him, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should really think about it. Just even thinking about that's bad. Is not as bad as actually doing it. That's what you really should be ashamed of. I love the way you
All righty then.
That is a stupid fun film. Bug's Life or Ants? Ants is Jim Sorensen's favorite film there. Bug's Life is what Undead Quincy. Ants was not a fave of the two. I enjoy Ants. I thought that was pretty good as well. All right, let's move on to the top 10 then. You want to go first?
I will soldier on, sir.
All right. Did we lose you?
No, I said I will soldier on.
Oh, Kurt Russell. Gotcha. Oh, duh. Soldier. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, talk about it. Tell them what it's all about. Those 3 or 4 people.
Kurt Russell jacks up on the roids and blows up, and he plays like a Terminator-esque type character in this action sci-fi vehicle. I hate hyphenating stuff. It's an action movie. It's not sci-fi.
Yeah.
But it's worth a watch. It's pretty solid. It's not like comedy. So it's just a Kurt Russell action one. It's definitely a bit of a change from breakdown from what we talked about on 1997. Yeah, definitely worth a single watch.
Kurt Russell is largely silent in this film as they're trained to be killers. They don't talk. I remember one character, the guy who played Bruce Lee and Dragon, the movie that came out just a year or so before that, gets his eye busted, so he can't fight. According to and he ends up being the big baddie. Yeah, it's a good film. I enjoy that one.
It's like you'd almost think of his character as like, with the kid as like the dog, loyal sort of subject, that he bonds with or something. But it's been a while since I've seen it. But what I remember about it is that the when I saw it in the theaters, the fans loved it. And that was kind of rare. I was like, oh, that's kind of an action movie, but they really like Kurt Russell a lot. That Kurt Russell, he was so hot at the time.
That Kurt Russell, he's so hot. My number 10 is a throwback to movies when we were young, where they actually trusted kids not to lose their shit if they saw dark material. That's very it's rare as hell today, but it was still rare then. And that's a movie called Babe, Pig in the City. Now, I was a big fan of the original, but this one was just bizarre in how it handled things. There's a group of animals in this one house. They have to hide the fact that there's animals in there. The caretaker dies, and then the animals themselves have to take care of each other. There's a bulldog that almost drowns, like is literally hanging from a foot while everybody's trying to save it. It's just a lot of dark imagery. That is the kind of film, like I said, that we grew up with. Really well written, really well directed, and just, one of my favorites.
Yeah, you've always maintained that, you've been very consistent with that viewpoint. I will have to acknowledge.
Yeah, I like the first movie. In all honesty, I think I like this one, even though this was lower on this year's list than Babe was in its year. I do think I enjoy this sequel just a little bit better. But I still love the ending of the first one better. Let's see. Number 10 for Jim Sorensen, Batman Sub-Zero. So you're going, okay, we'll include that. And Bride of Chucky for Undead Quinn is his number.
Bride of Chucky was not that bad. Honestly, it's entertaining, really.
Yep.
It's kind of pretty good, actually, if I remember.
It took a few films for Chucky to kind of crash and burn, but then this year and the year before, you had Curse of Chucky in 2018, and this year you had the Chucky remake. And I got to tell you, both films are entertaining. Both films are fun. I like that remake this year. It's one of the surprises of the year to me because I was not expecting anything.
Yeah, and I didn't think you were, and then you saw it and changed your mind.
Absolutely. If it's good, you got to say, hey, it's good. You got to look past all the people who watch a movie wrong, and you got to say, dumbasses, you're not understanding the film. It is a good film. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm going to be talking about a movie like that a little bit later. Anyway, what's your number 9?
I think with the way copyrights work these days, you have to be very careful the way you title a film because, of course, you want it to be catchy. If there's IP involved with it, you want to have some sort of relationship so you can tie all things together. But you definitely would not say where this movie are because it's about the wild things. So, I don't know if that made your list anywhere because obviously probably not. But
no, it didn't. No, it didn't. But it's an interesting film. Bill Murray's really good in this film, by the way. I have to say.
We've been saying that for how many years now with this? It's I
wanted to go there because a lot of people go other places when they're talking about wild things. And there's more than just Neve Campbell and Denise Richards making out in the film, which of course, but it's a pretty decent noir film. And it kind of started off a little bit of a noir renaissance.
Yes. And that's where I was going to go with, because that Miami, Florida obviously was huge when Miami Vice got revitalized because it was kind of a dump. Even though it was a playground and everybody knew about it, it really kind of had this big growth spurt with Miami Vice and Coconut Grove, Stallone moving down there, Madonna, and being in Miami in the 90s and even to now, of course, now it's at critical mass was a thing. And this movie was kind of down there too, but it had a bit of this old Florida feel to it in that noir style, which that's a great combination. I sometimes wish there were more movies like that, and there's very few things out there, but it captures it in addition to having a lot of sexiness to it, as everybody knows about it. But yeah, good film. Kevin Bacon's in it, Matt Dillon. It's more entertaining than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. The twist, okay, yeah, stick around for the twist. It's not too shabby. It's not like out of left field, but it's still pretty good. One of my favorite Disney films came out. Hello, bird. One of my favorite Disney movies came out that year. Very simple, short, tells the story, gets it done and over with, and that's one of kind of. I kind of like that in Disney movies. Dumbo did the same thing. It didn't. It trimmed the fat, so to speak. And this is a film called Mulan. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I just, yeah, a lot of fun. Obviously, you agree.
No, I hated it. I thought it was awful.
What made you hate this film?
I cannot think of one reason why, other than I said, "Oh, this is the hot movie," and I remember the animation being pretty good, and I just remember it seeming like it was a musical, and I thought, what the hell am I watching? You know, this is one of the movies. Animation was starting to really take off here. Like you mentioned ants earlier and whatnot too. So we went to go see all these, and I was blown away by the quality of some of the animation. It was not like the Don Bluth type Disney-esque ones that you and I started off and grew up on and got used to. So while the quality of the animation was fantastic, spectacular, just a lot of them started feeling very thin. And frankly, I liked watching an animated movie where I didn't know Stallone was, the ant's voice or this actor. And now you hear people and it like breaks that suspension of disbelief. So while people are very good at doing those things, and I certainly have no issues with that, I just, with Milan, to me, it kind of hit all the wrong notes. I said, if this is the way animation is going to be going, I'm not going to be a fan of it anymore. So part of it has to do with just, I think, the divergence of the way animation I felt used to be. And this point, this movie solidified what it was going to turn into. And of course, with Frozen and all the garbage that's out there now these days, in my opinion, it's really not worth watching. And I rely on someone like you to tell me about like Titan AE or Iron Giant or whatever it is, to say, hey, Rob, you would really like this. It's an animated film, because I've got my guard up because of how things have been with that. Don't want to be too negative about it. I'm not saying it's a horrible film, but I didn't realize you'd have it up that high.
I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the story. I thought you bring up the songs. This actually only has about 3, maybe 4 songs in it. And that's one of the things I'm talking about on as far as chewing the fat. There's a Disney formula that was being followed, and to your point, they began doing it again, where you start off with this is my goal in life song, and then we get the villain song, and then they trimmed that. You didn't get all of those songs. There's a few, like I said, there's about 4 songs within the entire thing. The avalanche scene I thought was absolutely incredible. To your point, you did give credit to the animation. I just like this one. But the thing is I've got to also give you credit on this one. This was towards the end of the Renaissance, as far as Disney's Renaissance, where they're becoming, they just became like the lords of the earth as far as their animated movies were concerned. This was when Disney was on the decline. So to your point, you got to say you're not alone. A lot of people felt that it was. So, this time you're not. Yeah, you're not actually the contrarian. You're not the contrarian for saying any of the later '90s movies were bad. That was actually a point of that people were just getting kind of tired of the Disney formula at that point. We are on our number 9, Zed. Welcome. Better late than never. So let's see. Just to catch you up there, we'll sum up later. But if you want to leave your 10 and 9 in the countdown, Ed, by all means, I'll read them off. Dr. Venkman chimed in saying his number 10 was The Man in the Iron Mask, and his number 9 is Mask of Zorro. Jim Sorensen says his number 9 is 6 Days, 7 Nights. Undead Quinn, Mask of Zorro would be number 9 for him as well. Mulan is lower with my Disney movies. See, yeah, I am actually the contrarian by saying that it's I don't know. It probably, they've got 52 films. So that's, probably about 15 good. And then the rest of them would be in the middle, and then bad. So, yeah. Let's see. And then Black Lotus, thank you for joining us. And by all means, leave your 10 and 9 in the countdown. We'll read them off next. But right now we are on Rob's number 8.
Number 8 for me is a movie that I probably should hate or like, but it seduced me with its hitness, and I'm embarrassed to say that because, you know, I'll mark out for like Richard Gere or something kind of odd, and I think you know that. But this movie, the more I watched, I thought it's kind of decent, and maybe if the way things are turning into kind of soft or whatever, maybe this person's, you know, fit for the role, and that's Out of Sight.
Wait, what?
Out of Sight.
With George Clooney.
Yes.
And Jennifer Lopez.
Yes.
That's on your freaking list at number 8?
Yes.
Dude, you've got to explain your work here, man.
Well, I just got through talking about being kind of hip. It's kind of fun to watch visually speaking. I was never a huge Jennifer Lopez fan like everybody else seems to want to be told they're supposed to be, because I just don't buy it. She's, whatever you can say about her, that's fine. But it was almost like a modern day throwback in with two people, and they had a little bit of chemistry that was good enough on the screen, and it was kind of silly with some of the stupid stuff going in there, and I just kind of like the whole setup of it. I don't know why. I just do. It worked, and it's probably like, you know, that one night in Tijuana with the donkey show and the tequila, and it goes bad, but you still have your one night to have the experience, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I'm not going to tell everybody to go out, rush and watch it, but I will say it's definitely different, and I think it stands out apart because of the way it is. I forgot who directed it and all that, but it was just, you didn't have a lot of movies that tried to have like a Steve McQueen-ish type vibe, and by no means am I comparing him to Steve McQueen. You can talk about McQueen being a horrible actor, coked out, bisexual, whatever you want to call it, positives, negatives, whatever it was. He had presence. I think Clooney's a very hit or miss kind of guy, and of course now he's the Nespresso dude, which he's just missing half his spine, I guess. But for some reason, the elements of all the stuff for 1998, this is the best we could do in this type of film.
At number 8, you got this movie.
Yeah, it's much better than Mulan.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to compare it to every one of yours now from up, because you're going to have some turd burglars in this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You get freaking Out of Sight, Gail, at number 8 in a top 10 list.
Whammy.
All righty.
It's a romance, bro.
Number 8 for me is a movie where even now, even though the man is far too old to play the part, he did so well in it that nobody wants to see anybody but Wesley Snipes play Blade. This is just a cool freaking film, man. And this, a lot of people give it to the X-Men, but this is what started off comic book movies. You know, if it wasn't Batman or Superman, it wasn't being made. Blade was what said, oh my gosh, you could make a comic book movie out of anything and it could be good. And it just rocked, and it spawned a good sequel and then a really bad sequel. But that first one, man, go check it out. It's actually, I think it's on Netflix, man, or I think it's on Hulu or Netflix or one of them. It is just intensely cool. It is a lot of fun, man. Seriously. I dig this one. They don't know who they're messing with. Anyway, yeah, I agree. Wesley Snipes was fan-freaking-tastic in the role, and it's going to be hard to see anybody else in it as well. But, dude, they nailed it right from the very beginning, where they're in that club and everybody's getting blood poured over them, and then they get scared. He just shows up, and it just goes kaboom. I dig on this film. Have you seen this one, or are we going to be talking about this later?
We'll talk about it later.
All righty. I thought so, my friend. Let's see. Black Lotus says his number 10 is Lost in Space. His number 9 is Meet Joe Black. Real Venkman is saying number 8 is U.S. Marshals. Jim Sorensen's agreeing. Number 8 is U.S. Marshals. It's a Wesley Snipes year, man. Black Lotus says number 8 is A Bug's Life. Ed Brewer says 10, Suicide Kings. Good movie. That is a good independent film. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it, I do recommend it. It's about a bunch of college friends who kidnap a mob boss played by Christopher Walken. Let's see. Half Baked is number 9 for Ed Brewer, and number 8 is Something About Mary. Johnny is saying his number 8 is Gods and Monsters. Brendan Fraser killed in that film. And that's something you don't often say. I mean, he's a fun actor to watch, but you would never really look at him and go, you know, that dude, that is a solid actor, man. And then you see Gods and Monsters and then Doom Patrol. You're like, okay, I'm wrong. Eric Breen, I liked Out of Sight as well. Hard to go wrong with Elmore Leonard.
Or Leonard. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good call.
Number 8. Let's see. Undead's Quinn's at number 8, Species 2. And we are on number 8, Osaka. So if you want to leave your 10, 9, and 8, go on ahead. Remember, I am gathering these up to make a list. So when we do our best of the 90s, I want to include everybody's and find out, I'm going to take the ones that everybody mentions, like the more people that mention it, plus what position they have it in. And we're gonna make a master list of everybody involved in the Xtreme Movie Show. All righty. So what do you have as number 7?
Did you do your 8?
Did I do? Yeah, Blade.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're doing it out of the order. Yeah. This one, hopefully, kind of like what we do with the top 10s, we try to do it in an hour and we rush. So it's a rush hour.
Oh, good times.
It's a solid entry film into a franchise because I think the second one's actually much better. But I like this one. I thought it was good. Chris Tucker's not nearly as annoying as he had been up to this point. Of course, with Jackie Chan, to your point, we've talked about this before earlier, especially on Kicking It and some other reviews we've done with Jackie, that he's transitioning a little bit where he still does his stunts, but he's a bit more particular about expanding what he does. And it clicked, and it's a buddy film. So a movie's not automatically better because it's a buddy film. But if it's a buddy film and it's halfway decent, it's like a Ferrari, just as long as it's got gas in it, you can go, and this one definitely, I think, is a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. And a year full of not what I would call a lot of fun films, but it definitely stands out. I think it's a very good film.
I think that we're going to be talking about some Jackie Chan team ups, because he did 2, this one, and then with Owen Wilson with the Shanghai franchise. This is the one that really took off. And yes. My number 7, by the way, as well. And
really?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this really just, I love, I loved Legend of Drunken Master. I dig on Super Cop, Rumble in the Bronx, the whole 9 yards. Thankfully, Gail once got me a box set of Jackie Chan films of his older days. I'm a big fan. I even like the Karate Kid because of Jackie Chan. I just slip past the scenes that he's not in, but he teams up with Chris Tucker, who, if you remember, was annoying to most people in Fifth Element, and I think he is the perfect foil for him. I really do, and
it seems like an odd pairing, which is
really does
the attractiveness of it. I think
but for some reason, you're right. It just works. We talk about Jackie Chan, but talking about Chris Tucker, he really had the bulk of the dialogue. Jackie Chan was the physical comedian. Chris Tucker was the verbal comedian, and I think that's why the dynamic works. Jackie Chan, while it can be funny and the straight man at the same time, that's pretty damn hard to do. Yep. We got to go all the way back to Lou Costello. No, Bud Abbott. Bud Abbott to get a funny straight man. Seriously. And so, you got to give credit on this thing. Plus, if you watch the original versus the other 2, it has a darker tone. I like 2, and I can tolerate 3, but the first one has a darker tone than the other ones. I'm happy that they allowed it to go that way. All righty. Number 7 for Jim Sorensen, Practical Magic, decent film. Number 7 for Ed Brewer is Wild Things. Number 7 for Johnny, The Ring, original Japanese, Ringo, good film. Can't fault that one. Number 7 for Black Lotus is Shakespeare in Love, good film. Rush Hour for Undead Quinn. 7 is Black Dog. All righty, get some meatloaf.
Black Dog was not bad.
Meatloaf, Patrick Swayze love in there. Yeah, and Asaka is joining the team, saying number 10 is The Prince of Egypt. Number 9 is Godzilla. Seriously, you may need to show your work on this one, sir. Number 8, Half Baked, and number 7, Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, which was Jim Sorensen's number 10. So that's pretty cool. What is your number 6, sir?
I'm going to challenge myself to watch this movie again because I'm going to hype it here a little because it's a small film. I said it to you when I saw it. This is one of the first movies I said to you, bro. You gotta go see it.
You're right. Asaka told me last time and I forgot it. Sorry to interrupt. I have to apologize. Asaka, you told me Sorry, Ahsoka is a miss, not a mister. I did not know, and I was corrected. Thank you for correcting me again. I will try not to do that. Sorry, Rob. Go on ahead. Hype away.
Well, if you kept referring to he as a, or to her as a he, you know what would happen?
What would happen?
Very bad things.
Oh, dude.
This is a great film.
You want to talk about dark? Please.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Bunch of guys are getting together, and this is one of the more mainstream movies that you wouldn't see out actually a lot, which is the whole point to it, where guys get married and he really shouldn't be, and he's just kind of going along with it. So the comedy element to it is the fact that he's being trapped in all the stuff, and he's afraid to kind of break free. And it sounds kind of all like whatever the hell I'm saying doesn't make sense, but the bottom line is it's funny to watch, and it gets dark, and it just gets darker through the whole movie. And by about 30 minutes in, you're on, oh my God, they're really going to go here. Oh my God, that could only go here. That's not going to happen. And then it does, and you're like, oh my God. And it's like that way all the way through. And by now, Cameron Diaz is like the cute one, and everybody knows about her, and they watch her. She's great in this role. But to me, the scene stealer is Christian Slater, dude.
Absolutely.
This guy nails it. He is your, you had your Tony Robbins things, you had your movie Magnolia, you had all these. In the 90s, in the 70s, you called them one thing, 80s another, 90s, they weren't infomercial guys. They were, like self-help gurus. And so Christian Slater kind of like is a real estate guy who helps out, but he's just, I don't want to say too much, because if you just watch it, it's a lot of fun. And I don't do the Asian thing like you do, but Kobe Ty's in this as the prostitute, and she plays a very important piece. She doesn't hang around too long in the movie, but after her scene is when things really pick up. So yeah, I hope if anybody watches this, it's as good as I remember it, because I want to watch it again. I keep thinking about it, going, man, I want to watch this one. Good.
This is one of those films like we were talking about. This is a very dark film. The comedy is very dark as well.
It's not happy.
It's a comedy of tragedies, actually. And Cameron Diaz is someone who wants to get married so much that you realize she doesn't want to be married. She just wants the wedding.
Well, that's the whole point. She does such a great job of being the example of, like, when a woman's taking a selfie, with her man, it's really about her. When she's showing the ring off to everybody, it's really about her. Us as guys, we look at that now in our old age. You go, well, she's not a keeper, she's not a potential. There's, especially today, the way things are in society, it stands out even more. And this is one of the first movies that really didn't just make lighthearted comments or an offhand scene here and there in the movie. This movie was all about how bad she was as a human being. And to your point, it's like, to her, a child wouldn't be an organic thing to have a bond with. It's a thing. The wedding was a wedding. She had to snag it. So she totally nails it. And I was so shocked that she did such a great job. It's scary how good she did it. But the other actors in here and the boys' posse, as they were going out and with the things that happened to them, it's believable in an adult sense, the type of things that they end up having to deal with. And it just does not let up. It beats you on the head with all these things that happen. And again, no happy ending. But like a lot of things, you make bad decisions, you suffer the consequences. So it's very consistent in that. There's no sloppy change to the ending. So even if it has a negative ending like this movie does, it's positive in the sense that it's very consistent. Definitely worth a watch.
Definitely. Yeah. At least once. Mine is my number 6. Every comedian tries for that Oscar run. They try to serious it up, see if they can do it. And in this case, this is Jim Carrey's try, and it's a movie called The Truman Show, where he is the only person who doesn't know he's on a TV show. And I liked it. I liked what it had to say about the movies itself. I liked what it just meant. It was very well acted. I was actually surprised that he did the job that he did in this one.
Yeah.
Did you see this film?
I don't want to say too much because I don't remember much about it. It's kind of like, like some of these films that people mention, I know you've told me they're really, really good, like Gods and Monsters. Still have never seen it, just because when it came out, I said, I'm not going to see that. I'm not going to see it. I'm at this point now where I'm just going, not going to see it,
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you do, I think I'm very interested in finding out, because it might be one of those things where you might not like it. I mean, some people are, some people don't. Some people prefer Man on the Moon. I don't get it, but this is a really good job by Jim Carrey. I liked it all the way up.
To be honest, I thought the way you've always talked about it, you would have it higher on your list.
Oh, well, number 6, that's not bad considering what's coming up. I think, I mean, if you've got a bunch of good movies, and I think I do, yeah, number 6 is good for it. Let's see. We have number 6 for Patch Adams. Okay. From Dr. Venkman, Johnny says He Got Game is his number 6.
That's not bad. I forgot about that
one. Let's see. He Got Game was good too, says Ed Brewer. And I don't want to make sure I'm not. Jim Sorensen says Pleasantville is number 6. Rounders for Ed Brewer. Blade for Black Lotus. And let's see. What else do we have? And Blade for Undead Quinn. There you go. All righty. So what do you have for number 5?
Well, before this stream, the doctor and I, in honor and celebration of John Carpenter's release date of They Live, covered it. And we went a little bit longer than usual because there's a lot of layers about the movie that you can talk about. So we just went over a little bit. But I was explaining to everybody that we were getting close to 8 o'clock and you had some family issues you were taking care of. And we were going to try to do the stream. So I almost wanted to sit there and spell out to everybody that the title of this stream tonight, if you did not show, is going to be There's Something About E. But instead, it's Something About Mary is my number 5.
Okay. You got on to me because this was low on the list.
I'm shocked because this movie was almost Titanic-esque in the fact that it was fun. It was enjoyable. It was a pleasant experience. A lot of people liked it. Nobody really said too many bad things about it. There's a lot of humor in it that is just funny enough and almost stirring enough where you're not necessarily offended. Of course, today, if it came out, it would be whatever. It's the movie that I think, I mean, to me, it's Cable Guy, but this has definitely put what's-his-face, up on, made him a household name, Stiller. Yeah. And of course, Cameron Diaz. I don't remember which movie came out first, honestly, this one or Very Bad Things. I thought it was this one, but she just was young and fresh and just looked the part, and it all made sense, and it was almost believable. And this is the Farley brothers, am I correct?
Yep.
And they were hitting their stride in here, and it just seemed like everything clicked that they put on there. It wasn't like it had a couple of good scenes. The whole movie, start to finish, is just pretty nice. And yeah, it's enjoyable. And like I say, I'm surprised. I thought it would definitely be higher on your list. I like it. You can't say a bad thing about it. And we've all seen it 50 million times.
Well,
but you
that's the thing.
Now and still enjoy it.
I'm not saying it's a bad film. It's my number 11. It is a good movie. It's a lot of fun. It's funny. One of the things I love about this is it's got jokes underneath the jokes. And it takes a while to realize it. They were talking, there's a conversation the women are having. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me explain this. Okay, because and this is exactly how awesome these jokes are. At one point in time, they're looking at the dog and what's his name? Freaking hell, he was in The Bodyguard. Matt Dillon. He's listening in, and they're talking about the dog. I just love a man with some big, big white teeth. Yes, I do. Yes, so Matt Dillon goes off and he gets himself some big white teeth. Yeah. And it's one of the funniest visuals you'll ever see. But later, you see Mary has a friend who's at work and he's walking along, and he's crippled. But you find out that he's not really, spoiler alert for the two people who haven't seen it. But the thing is during that, within that, you hear her friend say, well, I remember you told me you like a man in braces. And she was talking about the teeth. And so it made me realize, oh my God, that guy did the same thing. He heard that she likes a man in braces, so he pretends to be handicapped. He totally freaking got it wrong. And it's that kind of thing. Those are the freaking greatest jokes that you get. Just gotta have to like, oh yeah, okay, no, yeah. It's not just the obvious one like the hair gel cum, thing, but it's those smaller ones like. Matt Dillon tearing across, they're all playing football with the special kids, and he just mows them all down, turns around and goes, special my ass.
Well, yeah, that's right. And he was so good in that role. He was.
Special my ass. Oh, and when he's talking to her, he goes, he says, I just love working with those retards. And she goes, I don't think that's right. It says, I get that a lot, but I just can't help it. I love to help people. Oh God, I want to see this movie again. Maybe I have to change. I have to watch this again.
It does a great job of kind of exploring in a funny way without all the red pill stuff that's out there, the current words that people are using about dating and all that stuff. It's a lighthearted way of looking at the way guys would go through, dating a woman they think's the keeper, and she does everything in a really great way that makes you think, yeah, she's a catch. She's not just somebody I'm dating. She's worth it. And so you totally understand how every single male in here is chasing after her, and her being the catch. She doesn't seem entitled about it. She seems very genuine and likable, and that's the whole hard thing about it. There definitely is something about her, and that's the whole thing to the movie. And it's because at the end when he has the big speech about this and that, and trying to come to grips with her and all that, and then Brett Favre shows up. He's like, yeah, I just can't compete. And he just knows he's done. He's like maybe a 5 or whatever on the scale, and he's like, I just know what thing he's done, because guys talk about that stuff and they try to argue and debate on what they have, and if only she could see me for this and that, and that is just it's lightly illustrating what men kind of go through at a certain point when it comes to going out with women, without, I think, belittling men or belittling women or the entire dating process. I do believe that. So it's definitely, it's a lot of fun, obviously, and I'm sure everybody's seen it. So we've said enough.
Yeah. All right. Did I do my number 5? No, my number 5 is you're gonna fight about this one, I think, because you hate being told a movie is good to the point where you'll fight it, and that is Jeff Bridges is The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, I just don't get this one. I'm never angry or mad about it. I've seen it. I've watched it. I've watched it more than once. I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a bad actor. I think he's a good actor, actually. I like him. You know that. Liked him for a long time by the time this movie came out, but I just not feeling the vibe. Maybe if it was a pot thing like Cheech and Chong, I could go, oh, that's their shtick, but it doesn't really make me laugh. Okay, well, I get it. I just don't get it in this one. It just doesn't work.
You remember at this point we were at the Cinemark and we would watch the films afterwards. And I remember watching this one, and I fell in love with this one. This one as soon as we saw him write a check for $1.13 or whatever it was at the beginning for the thing of milk. And I remembered, oh my gosh, this is going to be great, and it was. I had no idea this movie would become what it was, what it would become, but it is. It's a very well written movie, and I think that's the big strength. I mean, Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, they do a great job, and they've done a great job for the Coen brothers before and since. But to me, it really does seem like the actors are kind of like the players to the script. It all comes down to what's on the page, and the Coen brothers wrote a freaking funny, bizarre movie about these guys, and it works, and it is just so good. Does it deserve its cult status? I guess, because it's quirky enough, but I had no freaking idea it would become as big as it did.
I didn't mind it, but I think part of the negative part to it is the fact that this is the point where people started, to your point, with the internet starting to really pick up with certain sites and stuff. And people don't realize that, while you've been doing this for several years and been very successful, you actually were online about 20 years ago doing certain things with reviews and everything else as well. So this is certainly not your first go around. And I certainly remember those days and was amazed at all the information, but it was, oh my God, Big Lebowski's so good. It's so hip. And I'm like, okay. And again, I think the seeds of the Xtreme Movie Show were planted back then, because it's like people would tell you things, but they would never tell you why.
They would never
it's greatly written. Okay, well, give me a scene. Tell me why. I mean, you at least mentioned the check. I get it, but that's not funny to me, Yeah,
I can back it up with other scenes. I mean, if you bring up you get this porn scene, right? And then you find out that everybody involved in that is involved in the kidnapping at some point in time. Mm-hmm. So it all connects the dots. This is where they met. This is where they hatched out the plan to have Bunny kidnap herself. So it's just little bits like that that you could go, oh, okay, because how are the Russians attached to Bunny? How do they even know about her? Now granted, it turned out to be two different things that they discovered, which makes you think that maybe one didn't agree with it or something happened along those lines. I would have to watch it again, but there are scenes, that small things that connect all the way through. Another well-written scene is he's trying to figure out this case, who kidnapped Bunny, and he's brought to shoot, I forget his name, guys. I haven't seen this movie in so long. But he's brought to the guy who made the movie. He's brought to his house, and he gets a phone call as he's doodles something down, and Jeff Bridges runs over to find out what he wrote down because he knows it's important. He does that pencil trick, and instead of a message, it's just a dick.
So let me ask you this, because I remember this one scene from a movie, and now that you're talking, I think it's this movie. Is this the one where the guy's coked out at the end, the bad guy waving a gun around, everybody's standing there, and he's singing Sister Christian?
No, that's Boogie Nights.
Dang it, I keep messing that up. I keep thinking that's this film.
Yeah, that's Boogie Nights. Yeah,
all right.
There too. Yeah. All righty. Let's see. We've got number 5, Truman Show for Ed Brewer. Number 5, Small Soldiers. It's a movie I still remember to this day, says Saka. Also, there's supposed to be a remake in 2014, but it got canned. I like Small Soldiers. I like Toy Soldiers with Will Wheaton as well. But yeah, that was a pretty decent film. Psst, just between you and me, the chat, that England teen's favorite movie is Batman and Robin. He might deny it. Yes, he will. I could promise you that Batman and Robin shows up in none of my top 10 lists or 20. Number 5 for Black Lotus is Urban Legend. Tillium saying hello to everybody. Hello to Tillium. Undead Quinn, number 5. Waterboy. Number 5 for Jim Sorensen. Thin Red Line. Let's see. Okay, I lost it. There we are. Number 5 for Johnny is Pleasantville. Franks and Beans, says Ed Brewer.
Franks and Beans.
Don't forget to like the vid. Oh yeah, thanks guys. Thanks Tillium. Yeah, like the video, please. Help us with the algorithm and help us with the shares. My number 5, instead of saving Private Ryan, they should save E's top 10. Well, I got some good movies here. And I'm being corrected. She was an orthopedic surgeon, so he broke his back so he would treat him. But the thing is he's not needing the braces at the end. So. Let's see. Rob's favorite movie is The Avengers, and talking about the British spy flick. Yikes, that's harsh. It's an HM. Big Lebowski is good. Part 2 is coming, so they teased. I love the New Mutants poster right here, Bo. Never going to see it on the big screen. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have to replace my original number 4 with a new thing since the movie was actually made. Yeah, we've done that a couple of times where we got the years mixed up. No worries, man. No worries. How the hell to get the beans above the Franks? Keith David is a movie god. We could just say that right here. He's been in so many cool things, including The Thing. So yeah, he is a movie god. Sir, what is your number 4?
This movie I watched and I almost walked out of because I was starting to hate it. And by this time, I was really trying to dial back the love everybody had for at least 2 of the main actors in this film. And then, I was watching it by myself real late. And then once I got to the very end, I went, it worked. It made a convert out of me. And when I watched it again a second time, I loved it even more. And that's Fallen. Love this movie.
Fallen.
Great movie, great performances. You'll get annoyed at the Stones if you're not a Stones fan. I mean, I hated that.
He's on your side.
It is so smooth. And Denzel, you got me. You won me, bro.
Okay. I don't want
he got game too.
He said about this movie. The preview. Now, remember, I was the projectionist at the time. I had to watch the previews. I had to watch everything. Mm-hmm. The preview gave this movie away.
Yes.
And I ended up watching it. I hate it when I saw it. I want to see it again because I waited for the movie to catch up to me. I knew what was going on because of the preview. Therefore, I was waiting for Denzel to go. If you saw it without seeing the preview, I think that's the best way to do it. Try to go into Fallen knowing as little as possible, and you're going to have a great time with this film. that the only reason why it's not on my top 20, because John Goodman is awesome in it, Denzel's awesome in it, is because it was ruined by the preview.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And at this time, with everything being able to come out on the internet and stuff, there was, I think, quite some time, let's just say a period where it was difficult to say, how are we going to approach getting movies out to fans? And this is when I think trailers, and this is where you would speak more to it, really kind of crap the bed as far as giving you everything. Instead of just giving you a hook and teasing you, so you'd have to go watch it to find out. Now you can go online and read about it while it's in development before everything. Yep. And my brother, who was in LA acting at the time, before he went, I was telling him, I said, man, they're doing this huge big thing over, not in Australia, but in New Zealand, called Lord of the Rings, and they're filming 3 films. And this is before it got big. I mean, and he knew about it and everything too. But yeah, it all blew up here in the late 90s to where we're at today. I mean, it really has. I can't pinpoint a specific time, but we're right around that time where I think it did.
One of the worst things I saw was Ransom preview. In the movie Ransom, they, of course, if you want to see your son again, pay this much money. Well, in the preview even, it shows him, Mel Gibson, in front of the pile of money. This is as close as you're going to get. Instead, I'm going to put this money on your head as a reward. And I thought, holy Toledo, that was a great twist. It's a great way to shift the film, and it became a different movie. And I was thinking, if that had been a surprise, that would have been a hell of a lot better. But yeah, they just screw up around.
It would have been the Sixth Sense of the year before the Sixth Sense. It really would have. I think it would have made the movie even better. The way we think about it now, I do agree with that.
Yeah. Now, biblical films, sir, not really big in the 90s. I think if you're going to go with the Moses story, there usually is only one to go with. You watch Charlton Heston in the 10 Commandments. Thankfully, however, they made one that might be more palatable to people, including kids. And it's called The Prince of Egypt. And that's my number 4 film of the year. Starring.
I have not seen it.
How?
I have not seen it.
It is very good. The animation is killer, dude. I mean, it is really good animation. The songs in it are awesome. I love the song We Believe, but I like the one on the DVD where they have all of the different countries singing it. It's incredible. I wish they would have just let the actors sing it during the Oscars. Instead, they got like pop stars, and it kind of messed it up. The music is catchy. It's got Val Kilmer and Ray Fiennes, who play Moses and the Pharaoh, respectively anyway. Once again, just absolutely entertaining film. You know what? I told them, because we had the premiere of Flipper, by the way, at Cinemark. So I had Universal Studios bigwigs in the office, and they were talking about their slate of movies, and they brought up Frighteners, and then they brought up Prince of Egypt for Christmas. And I said, Christmas, you're going to go up against the Rugrats? Now you might not know, but at the time the Rugrats was freaking huge on TV. Yeah. My kids were glued. I mean, they were toddlers and all that at the time, but they were glued. And I'm thinking, your guys are going to put a Moses movie up against the Rugrats. I say, I literally looked at them and said, and I was asked to leave the office. I said, you don't put Frighteners in for Halloween. Instead, you make it a summer movie, and then you're going to put Prince of Egypt up against the Rugrats. And they got mad at me. They said, you need to leave now. Like, dude, you freaking should have listened, man. Because as good as Prince of Egypt is, and it tells the story of Moses, so if you know that, and it follows it pretty well, not perfect, but it does follow it well. It's a lot of fun, but it bombed. It bombed like the Enola Gay. I mean, it seriously was just bad for the box office. But it is a great film, and it's one I love watching even today. I actually have the movie poster as well. So there you go. I recommend it. Just give it a try sometime. I know it's on Hulu right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I might check that out. It sounds better. But no, I was aware of it, but I just since then never saw it. Yeah.
Let's see. Ed Brewer saying his number 4 is American History X. Great film. 1998 seems to have a few of these, Rob. Great films that are just hard to watch. And American History X.
They're one-timers. You watch them one time, a good film, then you're never going to watch it again.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Vinnie Jones made this movie awesome. Yeah, that was a good movie. It really was. Number 4 for Black Lotus is Mask of Zorro. Number 4 for Jim Sorensen, Prince of Egypt. Make England Teen and Rob proud, guys. I guess that he's talking about clicking the like button. Number 4 for Johnny is Rounders, well-acted film as well. Asaka Tano Gaming is picking number 4, The Twilight, the drama thriller with Reese Witherspoon, Paul Newman, and Susan Sarandon, I believe, has that's who stars in that one. The one for Paramount Studios came out March 6th. It was box office bomb, and it bombed hard, but it was such a good freaking film. That's cool. Ransom was Asaka's number 11. Eglantine is one of the best critics out there. Wow. Thank you. I always thought so, but I certainly appreciate somebody else noticing. Gail is saying, don't give me a fat head, guys. But as you could tell by the camera, it's already there.
It sweats. It smells. And hopefully it sells.
There you go. Guys, I'm going to skip number 1. That my favorite is actually Ransom. Oh, okay. Computer Bots is already naming his number 1. Number 4 for Undead Quinn, Prince of Egypt. Twilight for Brewer. Let's see. Yeah, it was such a great underrated movie. Really, Mr. Brewer, Twilight did not come out yet. I know the Rugrats were huge, says Osaka. You would have been about the right age, actually, if I'm not mistaken, judging by some of your choices and such. So there you go. A few people will agree with me on Prince of Egypt. That's fun. So let's move on to number 3. What is your number 3, sir?
Bryan Adams had a catchy song. Not as catchy as by any means, but it was called Cuts Like a Knife.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about a movie called Blade, because you got to wait for that on your list, bro. I mean, this movie, I've told you, I saw it, thought it was fantastic. The Marvel thing, DC thing, whatever you guys call it in your world, I don't really know too much about it at this point, honestly. But I've told you, this is the best comic book movie I think that I've seen, generally speaking. And to me, is this better than the Avengers or any X-Men movie? Not even close. It's cool. It's hip. It's funny. It's well acted. It's got enough goofy stuff in there. It's fun to watch. There's definitely very comic bookish characters into it. But at the time when this came out, it just really put whatever was in the comic book. And I'm not familiar with the comic, but Wesley Snipes, not more a comic book looking person than Wesley Snipes in this movie, in my opinion. He epitomizes it. His movement is just so beautiful to watch in here. It's fantastic. Stephen Dorff, who always, I guess, does BC level stuff, was in this. Yep. I thought he was good, even though he was a little tiny dude. I just thought this movie was fantastic. And I've said it before and again that I don't know the movies and comics like you guys do when it comes to that stuff, but man, fantastic. So I was shocked you had it so low. Man,
I had this movie so low and you're shocked.
Okay. This is awesome.
It's kind of funny because at this point nobody knew who Blade was, and in the comics he's in this green kind of hunter's jacket with ski goggles. It looks ridiculous. I love the way they made Blade look. I thought also what's his name? Me and Bobby McGee singer. The old man, gosh darn it, what is it? Whistler is the character's name, but anyway.
Christopherson, yeah. Chris
Christopherson, I thought nailed the role as Whistler. It's a very entertaining film. You're absolutely right. I can't fault you for having it number 3.
It's one of those movies where, like, as a kid, you'd see somebody act out stuff when you'd act out scenes or the lines. This is one of those movies where the way they choreograph the music with the steps of the fighting really just built up really great, especially like in the last fight scene. Yep. And Wesley Snipes made you want to be Wesley Snipes because he was that good in here and like act out. Now you're like, man, he gave you a male standard to almost look up to in a sense, in an action sense, which we did not have that much of when it comes to these things. I agree.
Now, just to confirm something, by the way, we do not
indicate, but confirm.
We do not talk about our lists before the show.
Correct.
Because we want it to be a surprise. That way we could go, oh, you are so full of crap on this one, when it deserves to be said that you're so full of crap. Like you don't think that I had Blade high enough because I had it at number 8 and you have it at number 3. And I got on to you for having a movie at number 8 that I have at number 3, and that is Out of Sight, which I think is one of the sexiest freaking films ever made, man. When you told me it was number 8, I was like, have you seen this movie?
Because Clooney's look,
you know what,
but he's a little limp-wristed.
I'll tell you something. Say what you want about Clooney before this film. Say what you want about Clooney after this film. This is Pete Clooney.
Agreed.
This is where you went, holy shit, this guy's a movie star. Maybe he hasn't matched it since. But he's had some good roles since then. Oh, he has. I liked him in Oh Brother, Where Art You? I liked him in he won an Oscar for it. He was the only good one, like Sierra or something like that. Four Brothers. But yeah, he's done some really good stuff. But this is the only time. This is just the perfect cast. Yep. The scene in the trunk. Yep. Everybody who's seen this mentions the scene in the trunk. It is good, and it's hot, and it's not a sex scene. It's just two people talking.
It's seduction. It's a second.
Yeah, and it works. And it works. It's nothing over the top. It's nothing, and get Don Cheadle in on this thing. He was just funny as hell. You had Albert Brooks as well. I love the bit with George Clooney talking to Don Cheadle. He's like, yeah, you're scamming him. Well, I mean, what protection does he need? Well, I don't know. Maybe it slips and falls on my knife or my dick or something. I don't know. So I was like, okay, yeah, Don Cheadle's good in this one. It was a lot of fun. This film is so fucking good. I could watch it anytime. One scene where she's coming in and he's walking out, and they see each other as the elevator doors are closing. He just kind of does this reach out thing. Like, I should call out, but I shouldn't because I'll get caught kind of thing. It just so many excellent touches to this movie.
See, and you got on me big for you when I was talking about the bridges of Madison County. And I told you my opinion about the movie started to turn when there was a scene where they're driving in his truck or whatever. And she's sitting on the passenger side and he reaches over to grab something out of the drawer and he accidentally touches her kneecap or whatever. But the way she looks and acts, and it's older people, so you don't see this kind of stuff going on, but still human beings. It's still seduction in a sense. It's that dance that male and female go through with all that. And so to your point, yeah, this is very obvious with these two going in, and they're very beautiful people and on screen, so it's very attractive in that way. But it's just, you don't see a lot of what I would call genuine seduction and these kinds of things. And that's the whole slow burn about this movie, the pacing of it.
And we don't bring this up very often while we're talking about our top 10s. One of the greatest movie posters of the 90s. The orange, she's got the shotgun. You got just absolutely look it up. If you haven't seen it, guys, absolutely. Let's see. Ed Brewer's number 3 is Dark City. You have to really watch this movie, but I can watch it over and over. I got that movie poster too. And he's right. It is a good film, and it's one that you do have to watch a lot. Real Dr. Venkman saying number 3 is Who Am I by starring Jackie Chan. Jim Sorensen's got some cool points here. Little John Carpenter Vampires.
That was next year, though.
Is it though?
I thought it was 99. I may be wrong.
Okay, well, maybe.
2000.
We'll have to check. Let's see. Katana Gaming is saying Waterboy is number 3. Black Lotus, Mulan. Number 3 for Undead Quinn, The Truman Show. Number 3 for Johnny is The Faculty. And Ed Brewer's agreeing. I think we all have had The Prince of Egypt on our list as Osaka. Blade also appeared in the Spider-Man 1990s cartoon along with Morbius. Never saw Prince of Egypt. May have to, says Ed Brewer. Yeah, like they said, everybody else seems to have it. I have to go soon. Number 2, I'll Be Home for Christmas, a box office bomb made by Disney. Yeah, it didn't make a lot of money. And number 1, the Rugrats movie, I have to say you predicted, and Vampires is 1998.
It is, yeah. I'm looking at it right now. I totally missed it. Vampires is a solid film. It's certainly not his greatest, in my opinion, but it's got a little Western feel to it, which I really like. And, of course, James Woods' performance is a reason alone to watch it.
Yeah, James Woods a lot of times is the reason to watch a movie.
Yeah, I like the angle with the whole Catholic Church and the way they do it. They do it a bit different. So yeah, that's of course I would tell you to see any Carpenter film, but yeah, it was fun. This is his last decent film, probably. Really, actually, it really is his last film, just about.
Let's see. Ed Brewer saying Wedding Singer was Sandler's best in 1998. I would say 50 First Dates is my favorite Adam Sandler comedy, but Punch Drunk Love is my favorite Adam Sandler movie. Let's see. Vampires came out on October 30th, 1998, says Osaka, and Ed Brewer is saying gaming. Well, anyway, have a good time, Osaka. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah. All right.
Stay classy.
So now we are on number 2, sir. What is your number 2?
I probably like this film better than the number 1 film, but I think number 1's just a better film. So this one's the most enjoyable film of the entire year for me. Mm-hmm. It's one of the last adventure ones that just hits it in all sorts of ways, with music, with romance, and all that. And it's The Mask of Zorro.
All right, sir. Let's clear the air here. It is my number 2 as well.
Awesome.
And I absolutely agree with you, and I absolutely did the same thing. By far the most entertaining. I just thought my number 1 was better made. It's still a good film, but I would watch The Mask of Zorro because it's just thoroughly enjoyable, while my number 1 kind of hurts a little bit. So you start, since you started. Yeah.
It's an adventure film with a little bit of romance. It's got Anthony Hopkins in it as like the elder one, and of course Antonio Banderas is the going to be the younger one, and all that. It's got the whole Latin flavor. It's got the backdrop of Mexico. The bad guys in it's pretty good. It's a fantastic line in there that I used to just walk around all the time when I'd shoot a 3 in the gym at the Y and nail a game winner or something like that, and say bury the body and bag the head. Nobody knew what the hell I was saying, but I always remember, hey, the bad guys were good for bad guys. And it's it's just, again, the music's in it. This is Mark Antony when starting to peak nationally, at least in the white bread audience. I'm sure he'd been around, obviously, acting and singing before, but just, it's a very romantic movie, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it. She's peaking, and at this point, it just captured a lot of stuff at the right time. And it's hard to find just wonderful adventure movies that are like this, where it just feels great watching it. Yeah, it's the most watchable film of this year.
This was Catherine Zeta-Jones' Star Maker.
Yes,
she was in the Phantom movie with Billy Zane. She played one of the bad guy pilots.
I like how you introduced Billy Zane into the 1998 conversation.
We have to. He wasn't showing up naturally, so we have to find a place to put him in. But yeah, she was in that film, and okay, yeah, that's that same girl, right? I don't know. Okay, yeah, but I enjoyed it. It's like you said, all those things I can agree with. This is also practical stunts. And that made a big difference. You didn't get a lot of the now they'll just have them on a green screen and do something. This was practical stunts, and this was like watching an old school movie being made. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, the horseplay. I mean, who doesn't want to be a swashbuckler? Like they were in here, and you got the big house and everything else, and it's just sexy, and it's just very visual, like you're watching. It's very lush, and it reminds you of being out in 110 degree heat in your castle, like here in the Pine Hills Palace, minus the swamp weather, and just looking upon your grounds, and just that air of aristocracy in it. And Antonio Banderas just delivers the goods. He speaks that really he speaks the kind of Spanish, I forget which version it is, Catalan versus Castilian or whatever, the really proper one, and he just nails it. I mean, and yeah, it's just magical film.
Well, one of the things that has to be brought up here, I mean, you talk about Antonio Banderas. There are a few times where you hear a casting and it just goes, oh, yeah, and you wonder, did they make this movie because Antonio Banderas existed? Like, would Mask of Zorro be brought up if it wasn't for the fact that Antonio Banderas became a star in the 90s?
Well, Black Lotus is mentioning Desperados, and I remember seeing him in there, and I thought, okay, he's great for that role, but there was something about him in Desperados that I was just like, okay, it's a chick thing, I guess, hot Latin-looking dude, but in this movie, he nails, from the male perspective, that that mature, you know, I mean, he's a kid, but he's learning to be mature because he's got a role model. He's learning that high, you know, he's like the world's most interesting man, kind of in a sense. And by the end of the movie, where he's matured and it's something as a guy, we appreciate those aspects about him, rather than he's sexy and daring and teaches the homeless kid how to play flamenco guitar in a certain way by positioning his fingers in the certain position you need to be in and all that stuff, you know, for that flamenco techniques. But yeah, I mean, so this nailed it for me. This made me go, yeah. Gotta keep in mind this, the 13th Warrior, a few others. Yeah,
he really was. But like I said, I would not be surprised to find out that this was a whisper in the wind, and then they said, wait a second, we've got the perfect actor now. Let's get Antonio Banderas. It was kind of done that way for John Goodman. John Goodman was in a movie called Always for Steven Spielberg, and he goes, "Oh wow, I found Fred Flintstone," and then of course, you know, put him in the Fred Flintstone movie. Some movies just seem to be made, whether they're good or bad, around this perfectly cast position. And I would have to say Zorro is absolutely perfectly cast in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Mostly English actors playing Hispanic people, but you know, they did well. That's true. Catherine Zeta-Jones and not Antonio Banderas, but Anthony Hopkins are English, not Hispanic, but they nail it. Are you okay? I'm just hearing a lot of ruffling. All righty.
You want to talk about Antonio like that around your woman, you got to watch out.
I guess so. Yeah.
It is how to say Xtreme.
Right.
Oh, don't get me starting to talk like him. I find this conversation to be quite stimulating.
Well, you nailed it at least. I was wondering, where is another film that I don't know if when it's coming up, but Count of Monte Cristo is.
That's 2003, one. Bro.
Okay, cool. Because it just this movie made me think of that movie because of similar things. So anyway, let's go to the comment section for their number 2. Obviously, this I think might be the winner of the day, just for us both agreeing on it in the same position. Let's see. Away. Number 2 for Ed Brewer, U.S. Marshals. Number 2 for Jim Sorensen, Enemy of the State. Number 2 for Black Lotus is Ronin, little Robert De Niro action going on.
That's right, yeah.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas for Undead Quinn. You know what you said about Big Lebowski? Mm-hmm. I'm that way about Fear and Loathing.
Me too.
Glad you love it, man. I just don't get it. You know, I watched it as like, I didn't care for Where the Buffalo Roam either, but hey, you know, you dig it, and that's what's important. Johnny says his number 2 is Blade.
I got it. You want to hear my imitation from a very small side character in Blade, but it was so good. I still remember today.
Let's hear it.
I want you to just say, "What's that?" Just say that to me.
What's that?
That's my heat seeker. When Tracy Lords is farming the guy into the club.
Right.
Sorry, I just love that line.
Number 2 from Real Dr. Venkman is Fallen. Elias Koteas was great in the beginning. Remember this, Hobbs, what goes around really
and it's so true.
Yeah. And Black Lotus saying he also loved 13 Warriors. No one seemed to like time like a lot. Let's see, just like Emilio Estevez was perfect in Mighty Ducks. There you go. Okay. Although I did like him as Billy the Kid as well in Young Guns. All righty, sir. Why don't you do a little summary? What is your 10 through 2?
Number 10 is Soldier. Number 9, Wild Things. Number 8, Out of Sight. 7 is Rush Hour, and coming in number 6 is Very Bad Things. Well, rounding out the top 5, we have Something About Mary, and number 4 is Fallen. 3 is Blade. Number 2 is The Mask of Zorro.
All righty. Oh, you know what? I noticed neither one of us had Armageddon on our top 10 or 20 for me.
Well, let's skip it.
Big, loud, and stupid. And entertaining, though. Let's see. Number 10 for me was Babe, Pig in the City. Number 9, Mulan. Number 8, Blade. Number 7, Rush Hour. Number 6, The Truman Show. Number 5, Big Lebowski. Number 4, The Prince of Egypt. Number 3, Out of Sight. Number 2, Mask of Zorro. And what is your number 1, sir?
Let me talk about the movie before I say it. when I first saw this movie, this was another movie that everybody told you how good it was going to be and how wonderful it's acted. And I thought, honestly, I thought it was kind of stupid sounding. I'm like, what the hell? And so it actually took me a while to see it. I saw it. I think I fell asleep because it was slow or whatever. I've watched it a lot over the past couple of years, just being on TV or whatever, and I actually like it. It has nothing to do with the person that's in it. I like about a lot of the different aspects about it as an adult that I appreciate now that 20 years ago when this movie came out that I didn't. And I have to say, I think the best film of 1998, despite everybody telling me that, I think it's for different reasons, is The Truman Show. I think it's a very dark movie. I don't think it's funny at all. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's like any of that stuff there at all. And I will tell you this, one of the reasons why I've seen it a few times is a couple years ago, the wife and I had a wedding to attend in the Panhandle of Florida. And it so happened literally to be about a mile down the road from Seaside, Florida, where this was filmed. The Truman House is still there. I saw it and everything. And so we had got a little bed and breakfast and we went bike riding one morning. And if you saw the movie whose name escapes me with the chicks in it that got released on Netflix that was filmed in the Panhandle, it looked just like that. The outer space alien one that was pretty good. It looks just like it in the Truman Show. When you're there, I don't like planned communities in a sense, and I'm trying not to get too personal, but it's kind of weird that they feel funny. We have one here closer to E actually than me called Celebration, which is kind of just, yep. I get this funny vibe. But the Truman Show is like the modern day version, just not nearly as cynical or as good as The Prisoner from television. And that's the way I look at it. And it's just disgusting to see the kind of stuff that happens. And yeah, everybody roots for Truman and this and that. But at the time, people were starting to talk about in the late 90s, reality TV. That was a new term. And honestly, a lot of it came from pro wrestling, saying we're not going to act like this is real. We're going to act like it. Everybody knows it's not real, but we'll still do the matches and we'll try to do real storylines in it. And they were one of the first ones to really do this. And The Truman Show, I think, kind of was the right movie at the right time that kind of said, hey, this is what it could be, with computers, the internet, and all that, and did a great job of it. And it's absolutely true, too. I mean, MTV's had Big Brother forever. I mean, nobody watches it, but it's still on. It's got legs. And a lot of shows are like that. I mean, where you just watch people do stuff like Survivor was, I think, about ready to come out if it hadn't already at this point. And I just think it was very prescient, I guess is the way to say it. So when you compare it to the other films that came out this year, while I think Mask of Zorro is a lot more of a fun movie. I think Fallen is a fantastic watch. Blade is a very entertaining. Something About Mary is very cute. I think all in all, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of reasons why The Truman Show is the best film.
Okay. Well, obviously, I liked it. It ended up being my number 6 film.
Yes.
Yes. I liked for a lot of the things you say. I enjoyed. Yeah, you're right. This is a dark film, but it's also one where I had a problem with it. The premise, like they tried to control it too much to make it even in there. And it actually could speak to reality shows. But I was thinking, if you're going to do that, then you have to go all out. But they really did try to control it like, oh, well, you're going to be his girlfriend from here instead of him picking somebody naturally, which is something because I thought, wow, does you mean that it's in your contract that that you have to bang him? You have to do all these kind of weird things to him. What if he turned out gay? I thought there was so much they could have explored. But that just serves that you want to find more about.
That's the movie I want to see. That's the thing. They teased me enough about it where I wanted more. Mm-hmm. With the ending and all that. I really, really did. And there's really basic one road that kind of cuts across it and a few small side roads. But really what they do is, when you have a place there, you get a yellow bicycle and you ride it around town everywhere. That's the thing there. They want you to walk. You don't really have a front yard, but there's a lot of paths and trails. And so literally, even though your house is a zero lot line, as we would say,
and you're right.
You still feel like you're in nature. It's just a weird vibe being in there, but it's a gorgeous, beautiful place in person.
Celebration
it definitely has a magic to
very,
it.
very much like this. It's a housing area. It's a neighborhood in like almost a small town that was built by Disney.
Yes.
It was abandoned by Disney as well because Disney rushed the building and a lot of them ended up being unlivable.
Yes.
But, It really was this town built by Disney. It kind of looks, it does look almost like Village of the Damnedish, tell you the truth.
And they ripped off, Seaside for it. I mean, honestly, and to your point, Disney, when they get their hands on stuff, makes a lot of money, but they ruin it. I mean, that's just Disney.
If they took their time, but they said the problem with what they did was they put out a date it was going to be available before it was available. Like, they should have just built it, and when it was ready, now we'll sell them. But they said, well, it's going to be ready by this time, and by that, it didn't make it. Let's see, my my number one film, a lot of what you said kind of applies to it. This is a very well-made movie. It is an opus, in my opinion, even though he does not figure that way. And as it was said by Ed Brewer, it is a movie theater movie. It is Saving Private Ryan. Just one incredibly well-made film. Not the easiest to watch, but I can watch it anytime because it's just that deep. It'll drag you right on in. Mask of Zorro is more put on, but Saving Private Ryan is just one that will suck you in and just keep you going. It really is something. I just blinked out on this thing. Am I still going?
You're good. Yep. Okay. I hear you.
Yeah, I've seen this movie tons of times. I thought Tom Hanks nailed it. I think all the side characters we get, young Vin Diesel in here, doing a great job on that as well. And he'll show up in a movie next year as well. So, yeah, absolutely. I don't know what to say about this is the movie that should have won the Oscar instead of Shakespeare in Love. And everybody knew it. When Harrison Ford opened the envelope to read off the winner, he was like, what the you could almost see it. He's like, Shakespeare in Love? Or, it's just damn freaking good. It's a really good movie. Have you seen this?
Yeah. Be honest with you, I thought it was okay, but it's kind of like, Jack Ryan season 2 right now that I'm watching. It's done good. Can't argue about its technical merits. Not emotionally invested into it at all. And that's where characters are important. It's somebody that you feel like you can identify with, or something about them you don't like, something that stirs a little bit of emotion into you. And to me, I just thought it was a bit of an analytical film, not so much, I don't know. I'm not going to, when I say the passion wasn't there for me, what I mean by that is that it just didn't grab me and bring me along for the ride. Yeah, it was technically very good, and every point you're saying about it is right on, but it just didn't have the same, I don't know, visceral nature that maybe, like, say, First Blood did or other things. So
some things are just that. I could connect to the character because ultimately it was about a normal guy. The focus was, of course, on Tom Hanks' character, and it was about a normal guy put in extreme circumstances and rising and or falling to them. The last battle, a lot of people bring up the opening scene, the D-Day and everything, which is amazing sequence. The last battle also I thought was absolutely fan-freaking-tastic, as you get to know these guys and you don't want any of them to die. And, of course, it's a war, so some do. So, yeah, I'll stand beside it. Absolutely fan-freaking-tastic film. Saving Private Ryan's my number one movie. Ed Brewer is agreeing with me, with number one being Saving Private Ryan. Jim Sorensen couldn't decide between Armageddon and Blade, so we're trying to get him to either be extreme or flip a coin. Let's see, American History X. That movie was harder to watch than The Joker, and at the ending was brilliant. How they don't really tell you what the result of the brothers' action was from Black Lotus. Saving Private Ryan from Undead Quinn says he's number one. Let's see. Heads on one tells you which. Great odds. Number one for real, Dr. Venkman is bald. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill, and some can't spell. So they are skating uphill.
Reading it like Ron Burgundy. Yeah.
Yep. 99. Yeah, I know, right? You stay classy, San Francisco? 99 is next week. The question is, how far up will Ninth Gate get, Rob? Says Dalton. Let's see, all the way up to 666. By the way, Rob, did you see my title sequence for my channel? There you go. So every other week or next week for 99. We're actually going to do 99 on Sunday so we could catch up because I want to do the 2010s and get that 2019 at the end of the year. And Johnny says number one. Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks nailed it. Notable mentions: Perfect Murder, Can't Hardly Wait, Thin Red Line, Bulworth, good movie. Dr. Dolittle, Snake Eyes. I love the track shot at the beginning. Vampires and Mercury Rising, good stuff. So 1998, good year, bad year?
Different. I mean, I just feel like at this point things are changing. We talked about, the early 90s were like, 80s on fumes, and then where are we going? And then we actually had some pretty good movies, but they're just not what we're used to seeing. And I enjoyed a lot of movies in 96 more than the others as far as I'm going. Not that there's not good films, but at this point it's kind of like weird. It's like, it just seemed like each year you couldn't say this is the year of this or this is the year of that. And I don't know if this is when movies are starting to consolidate to where there are only 2 or 3 types of movies, but it was very obvious at this point, even though you still were seeing everything, I was adamantly going, doesn't look good. Or, hey, the trailer showed me everything. Why go see it? That was
yeah, that could happen. That could happen.
It was an okay year.
I think here's my summary of this one. There are some excellent films, but there's a lot of good movies and some okay ones that I just love to watch.
Right.
We're talking about favorite films. A lot of the movies are just fun to watch, like Night at the Roxbury, which were in my my runner-ups. They were a lot of fun. They're decent to watch. But as far as an excellent, I got to say excellent begins at number 6. So there you go. I think good, that continues the top 10, but excellent is starts at number 6. So there you go. Next week, 1999, or on Sunday coming up, 1999. Looking forward to it. Once again, I think there's going to be a couple that you and I may fight over, especially my number 1. Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about how fantastic Pierce Brosnan is in 1999. And no, I don't mean that horrible remake of the Steve McQueen movie.
Yeah, we're going to be fighting. All right. So, no, it wasn't. All righty, gang. No, I think I know which one you're talking about. After Sunset or something like that.
No, that's a good one. Thomas Crown Affair, bro.
No. I mean, that's what you want to talk about. Yeah. You want to talk about how awesome he was. I know you're not talking about freaking James Bond. So,
Twan is it, buddy? I'm gonna watch it again tonight just because I, was watching it the other night. Said, man, this opening sequence is fantastic.
There you go. All righty, gang. Anyway, thank you very much for joining in and joining the conversation. If you haven't put your top 10 in, if you were listening and you weren't participating in the commentary, that's fine. Just put your top 10 in the comment section. That way we could add it to the whole list, because I really want to make sure that we're not only doing mine and Rob's best of the decade of 1990s, but we're adding in everybody's, of finding out everybody involved here and where their movies would fall as well. And I'm going to do that by counting the ones. First of all, how many lists did it make, and then where it was on that list. So there you go. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Thank you very, very much for watching. And as always, stay extreme.
Stay very extreme.
Very extreme.
Too extreme.
Yes. Have fun, gang.